catalyst for change with the chance to thrive. Crystal is the one to stir up gifts and save lives. You get exposure, promotion, and marketing too. And advertise for business owners just like you. On Storytime, your interview is global. Virtual or in person, just come on the show. Yo, your story matters. Crystals will open the door. 40 years of experience, ready to give you more on Storytime. Get ready for Storytime. Hey, come on.
Good evening, good evening. Welcome to Storytime. I am your host, Crystal Bodie Smith, and I am so happy to have you here today at Storytime. Storytime is a place where we bring you stories and human beings connect through life experiences. And one of the things we like to do is we like to ask you while you're here if you would like, share, comment, and join us on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. And you can always DM me on IG if you ever want to be a guest on Storytime. But Storytime is a place where we allow people to share their stories. It doesn't matter who you are. Everybody's story matters. Okay? So if you're on this page right now, we ask that you please share this with 5 friends. We ask you to please let them know that we are live, because tonight we have a story that we feel is important. We have a story tonight about a young mother who had a situation, and you may have seen it. It depends upon what area you're in. And her name is Britney Thompson. And Britney Thompson is a mother who had a son who had an asthma attack in school, and he did not survive after having an asthma attack. And so we're going to speak with her tonight, and we're going to speak with some people who are industry experts to help her through this. And she's such a brave young woman. I don't want to say I'm pleased to meet her in these circumstances, but I'm happy that God allowed me to meet her and for us to connect paths so that I can do what he called me to do to help her while she's on this mission. You know, we never know when we're going to meet people, you know. And Britney is a sweet young lady. She really is. She's a mother, and she has beautiful children, and she's here. And I want to bring her up right now. And before I bring her up, I just want to tell you right now that we all have to be each other's keepers. You know what I'm saying? We have to be there for one another. We never know what cards are going to be dealt for us in life. And I'm just thankful to be a catalyst in this particular situation. And I pray that God uses me in the way that he should have me to be used to help this young lady with her mission. So at this time, I want to bring up Miss Britney Thompson. Britney, are you there with me, dear?
Hi.
How are you today?
I am well in the moment.
Considering the circumstances, you look pretty. I want to tell you, you look pretty.
Thank you.
I know God is keeping you, definitely keeping you. And I want to tell you that, again, in front of my audience, I am so pleased that you have found a way to get through this challenge, this situation that has occurred with your family. And I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of how you have taken this and turned it around. And so I know you've heard that by many people, because I met you on TikTok, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you met a lot of people on TikTok, huh?
Yeah, we have a lot of support.
First, let me allow you to just tell the audience your name, where you're from, and how many children you have, and tell us a little bit about yourself, Britney.
Of course. My name is Britney Thompson. My husband and I, we have 5 boys. The twins are 19. Xavier's 13. I have Zane that's 8. And I have the baby whose name is Willis. He's 3. And we're residents of Houston, Texas. We live out here in Houston.
Boy, I bet that is a lively household with some boys, huh?
It's fun. It's fun, and they're always up to something. And it's it's usually always loud. It was
Wow.
definitely a loud household.
I had the opposite. I have daughters. So I can imagine. I know it's a lot of energy with boys and a lot of games, a lot of physical stuff going on and
Mhm.
technology and things like that. Wow. And I'm sure, did you ever want to have a girl so you could do some hair?
I did want to have a daughter so we could have mommy and me dates and that type of thing. But after the baby, I was like, okay, clearly we're not getting a girl, so that's that on that.
Okay, okay. But I know you're grateful. All children are definitely a joy. And someone is here and they're saying hello. And Zane, oh, is that one of your sons?
Yes.
Oh, that's so special. Zane is here. Hey, Zane, how you doing? That's so good. Thank you for joining. And that's so supportive. That's so sweet. Zane is here, so that's good. And tell us a little bit about your background. What is your background, Brittany?
I am a school counselor. That was my career prior to Xavier passing. I was a school counselor, and I'm also an LPCA, which is a licensed practicing counselor associate.
Hmm.
Um, just a mental health counselor as well. So that was my trade. I've been in education for about 16 years now. And that's all I've ever known was education and in the school system and that type of thing. So
Excellent,
outside
excellent.
of work and my boys, that was my life.
Wow. I have asked two associates of mine to come and join us today that also work in the fields that I felt like when we have this conversation, they would be very instrumental. And this is just what you call like a community of support, you know. The first person that I have that I want to ask to come up is Dr. Lorna Chapman. And I know I saw her in there. Lorna, are you there? There
I
she
am.
is.
Yeah.
And Dr. Lorna Chapman is man, she was born in Pennsylvania. And let me see, I have her information. Bachelor of Science in Nursing, a registered nurse, University of Maryland, military campus. She has a background in nursing, you know, and we know that you also have a sorority there too. And she's also a certified grief counselor and also retired U.S. Army colonel for 32 years. So I want to say thank you for your service. Thank you for your service for that. And I asked also another young lady to come up, and I'm gonna have her to describe her background because I wanted her to come up because she's so passionate about what she does for children. I don't have her information, but she's gonna be able to tell us her information herself. That's Deb,
Hello.
the counselor. Hey Deb, how you doing?
All right. How's everybody?
Everybody's doing good. Do me a favor, lift this up, pull the screen so I can see your head. I want to cut up that beautiful face. Yeah, there you go. So
All
Deb, tell
right.
us your background. You work with children, right? Tell us your background. You're a counselor?
Yeah. So first of all, I want to say very sorry for your loss, Brittany. Very sorry for your
Thank
loss.
you so much.
Yes. And also, Dr. Lorna, thank you for your service.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Okay.
let me tell you, I asked these two ladies to come because we wanted to be a support system to you. And like I told you, one of the things I was not going to do was talk about anything because I know you have some litigation things that you're working on. So we're not here for that. We're here to give you support and answer questions that you may have to help you with your mission because we're just so proud of what you've done because you created an organization, a 501c3, and a lot of time, and this is fresh. This just happened November 15th, and this young lady has already created this organization called Breathe for Xavier, a 501c3 dedicated to raising funds to launch vital initiative aimed at promoting respiratory health and wellness. Okay, how commendable is that? And she's trying to help gather resources and essential training and materials for other people in the community. Come on now. She's all about asthma awareness. And we know that asthma is a chronic respiratory condition that affects the airways and it causes inflammation, narrowing, and wheezing, you know. So I mean, how commendable is that? I mean, in the middle of her grieving, she's thinking about other people.
Yes.
So that's something. So that's why I said, you know what? Not only do we want to commemorate Xavier, because I heard from you, he's such a joyful young man, and I think tell us a little bit about it, David. I'm going to show a little slideshow that I put together, but before we do that, tell us the world who didn't know Xavier, who was Xavier Thompson?
Xavier, Xavier is my first son. He's my first son, and it has always been me and Xavier. He was so since he was a toddler, Xavier was so full of life, and he would dance and sing and play, and he always thought he was the coolest person ever. And so I have videos of him when he was like 4, standing in the mirror saying, "I'm the coolest kid. Who's the coolest kid? I'm the coolest kid." And he at this time, he was, like I said, he was my only child at the time. And he was full of life, and he grew up and he continued. His personality bloomed, and he was so full of life. He was such an inspiration to so many of his peers. He was an honor student. He was in all advanced classes. He's played sports his entire life. He's always played sports. He's always had he was a social butterfly, never met a stranger, was just one of those kids that was always out there. When he passed, his teachers sent me texts and messages, and they told me that you could feel his presence when he walked in. He didn't even have to talk. He walked in and you could feel his presence. And it wasn't until after Xavier passed that I really found out all of the wonderful and magnificent things that he was doing in the background. So I found out a couple of days after Xavier passed away, I found out that he had been taking notes. He had been reading his Bible, and he had been taking notes about the kingdom of heaven. And so on November 11th, November 12th, because he died on the 15th. So on November 12th was the last little note card I have that he wrote, and he was writing describing heaven and saying that we're only here to be disciples and to spread the word. And I was shocked to see that, because by no means was Xavier an angel. He was your typical 13-year-old boy that got in trouble and was, outside doing, like, he was normal. Nothing about him made me think that he was different in any type of way. And like I said, it was after he passed that I saw that. He got baptized exactly 3 months before he passed, and that was his idea. He asked to be baptized because one of the twins was going to the Navy, and he wanted to make sure that his brothers were baptized before they all split up. And so it was his suggestion that all of them go get baptized. So they got baptized on August. I want to say it was like August 12th, maybe. It was somewhere around there, but it was roughly exactly 3 months before he passed away. He got baptized that Sunday. And I remember being so angry because I couldn't be there. And I was like, Xavier, like, why would you do that? And I couldn't be here. And he was like, well, because we had to get it done, Mommy. Like, I've been planning this, and you can watch it on live, but it's okay. Like, I needed to get it done. He just was adamant about getting it done. And so one of the videos that's on my TikTok and my Instagram shows him his baptism and showing him being baptized those 3 months before he passed away. And then after he passed, I got a hold of another video from him the day that he passed, and he was walking the hallways of the school. And that's the video where he said, where he was telling his classmates to trust in God. And they were like, well, what do you want to say for the camera? And Xavier was like, trust in God, bro, trust in God. And his friend was like, what? And he was like, trust in God, just trust in God. And the little boy was like, wait, what? And he said it again. He said, trust in God. And then he said, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And he walked off, and that was the end of it. But I was like, my God, like, and like I said, I knew nothing of any of this before he passed away. Like, I did not know he was taking notes in the Bible. I didn't know. It's just so much stuff that I found out when he passed away that I didn't know. And I was like, my God, like, you were preparing my son, and I didn't even know you were preparing my son to go. I've gotten messages from students that were telling me that how inspiring he was, and he was the reason that they decided to get baptized. And one of the little girls was telling me she moved from out of state, and she was really feeling down, and she just didn't know if she could keep going on because of the pressures of middle school. And she said Xavier dropped what he was doing, and he called me on FaceTime, and he prayed for me. And I was like, when was this? Like, why didn't anybody tell me? Like, He was
Wow.
doing all of these great things because to me, he was just Xavier. He was just, my son. And so
Mhm.
on the background, he was doing all of this stuff that I had no idea about.
That's amazing. I
Wow.
want to show you guys who Xavier was. Those of you who have never met Xavier, I made a video. I want to take a moment to pause. That's a beautiful story. I know you ladies would agree. I mean, apparently, like you said, he had a assignment, and he knew what his
Mhm.
assignment was, you know,
Yeah.
and apparently he definitely did. So I can see why you find peace now after hearing stories like that. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Because
Yeah.
that had to give you some kind of joy knowing, wow. But check out this video. Just one moment, guys. I have for you. One moment. I really, I'm just in awe with the way. I want to show you something here too. And Xavier actually had it was a picture, and you could tell us what this is. I know that y'all had a beautiful homegoing celebration for him. Tell us about this day. I know that you had many people. I could tell by the display of love with the life-size pictures and the way his name is that this was a homegoing celebration. This was a celebration, wasn't it?
It absolutely was. It was beautiful. There were so many people there. Um, I can't remember the actual service because I didn't make the service. I was there, and once I saw him in the casket, it was just too much for me, so I passed out, and they had to take me to the back. So I missed the service. But from what I hear, it was a beautiful service. It was a beautiful service, and once I was able to come back in, they cleared out the church and they opened the casket back up for me to say my goodbyes alone. And then they had everybody come back in the church so that they could take him out and put him in the hearse. From my understanding, so many children stood up to receive to accept Christ at his
Wow.
funeral because it was full of his
Wow.
friends. There were so many kids there, and so many kids stood up and accepted Christ at his funeral
Wow.
after hearing about all of the things that he did, and because they knew him and because they cared for him so much, and they knew he always somehow found a way to like throw God in the mix and throw God out there in the atmosphere and somehow speak on Jesus. They knew how he was.
Wow.
And so I was proud. That was a proud moment for me when I found out that happened. I was very proud. But yes, the ceremony was it was beautiful. I wish I was able to see it, and I wish I had taken pictures and like all of that stuff. But of course, naturally, it was a hard day for me. you know, it was hard. And,
So I want to ask a question. I know that the schools normally when something like this, because this happened during his basketball practice. So Xavier made the basketball team and he went to his first day of practice and he had an asthma attack at the first practice. Is that what happened? And so I know that because this happened, you said you get a lot of calls and texts from some of his friends. And that's why I asked Miss Deborah to come because I know she deals with students. And I know you said sometimes you try to, console them and tell them things. And I also know that you have began to think of everybody else and your other 4 children. I saw when your son, he actually put up there, he said that he told him not to give up. I don't know if you saw that. He said
oh yeah.
he told him never give up. And look at Dane. Dane is watching. That's his brother, y'all watching. He said that's him. Oh, that's so beautiful. And then I know you did something in the neighborhood where they had something also. So I want to give the ladies a chance to give their input after hearing all this, because it seems like you are in a mode of taking care of everybody else. So from a counselor standpoint, if both of the counselors, I want to have each of them to say whatever they want to say to address you and make sure that you are okay and you're taking care of yourself, and then maybe offer some advice that they can offer for you when it comes to speaking to the other students or your other children. So first, I will go to Lorna since she deals with grief and let her speak.
Well, I can offer my condolences too. I know that we never think that we're going to bury our children. We always feel that our children are going to bury us. And so when these events do happen, they are very, very difficult. But, one of the mottos that I live by, and, most of us have flown on planes before, and when they give that safety briefing, what do they say?
Yes, they
When
say
that yellow mask falls down, it doesn't matter.
Put it on first.
Put your mask on first.
Mm-hmm.
And once you put your mask on first, then you can help everybody else. But right now, put your mask on first and take care of you. Now, you are using this whole situation, I see as opposed to a stumbling block where you are into yourself. You are doing so much to help not only your children and your family, but to help other people to get through this very difficult time in your life. And you're using it as a stepping stone so that other people will not have to experience some of the difficult things that you have. But grief is one of those things that is very personal. And it doesn't matter whether all of the people, all of the people in your family experience this death. They're going to experience it in their own personal way, in going through, in dealing with that significant loss. And usually I a lot of times when we say loss means that you're going to find someone. And that's why, especially in dealing with children, you want to stay away from saying loss, because little kids are very literal, and the younger they are, the more literal they are. They go looking in the closet, up under the bed, all kinds of places to find that person. And so it helps to just let them know that the person won't be coming back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that it's not easy to say that a lot of times because it's so final. It's so final.
Mm-hmm.
And I usually, when I'm working with children, I work with children. I've worked with children my whole career. I worked with neonates and pediatrics my whole career. When I start dealing with children in dealing with grief when they're about 2 years old. But if you notice, small children, babies, they know when something is going on in their household. And you know how a lot of times parents will want to hold back and not cry in front of their children and things like that.
Right.
because
Right.
something is going on. Something is going on. And
Yeah, and babies pick up on that. I'm sure they do. And on that note, hold on. So, Deb, what are you thinking when you hear her say that? Because you deal with children when these kids are coming to school every day. They have to try to, go the teammates. They have to go to basketball practice. Um,
you're scared.
from a
Yeah.
character standpoint, when they're calling her and saying stories about Xavier, I mean, what's the best approach?
Yes. So let me introduce myself. My name is Deborah Anthony. I am a licensed professional counselor since 2013, certified school counselor for 18 years. I've been an educator for 24 plus years.
Mm.
And so, what I do, I am the proud owner of Talk It Out Counseling Services, creator of therapeutic products and programs. And so, what I do is advocate for children. I help parents with self care, and I help people build positive relationships, communication skills, so they can thrive and be the best version of themselves.
Okay.
So, um, so here are some problems that children can face in school, and it's just so happened in Helpful Living magazine, I have an article about how children and parents can benefit from the school counselor. So this is issue 6. And so I'm just going to kind of go through a few things in the article. But it says problems students may experience during the school year. It could be family issues, loss of a loved one, violence, divorce, incarceration of a family member, sexual abuse, gun violence, neglect and abuse, trauma, drug exposure, medical concerns, bullying, lack of social skills, and poor character, and etc. So there are 6 components that how a student can benefit from the school counselor. And we know that school counselors, we are the glue that holds the school together. And so the first one is learn character words for each month and apply them to your everyday life. Number 2, ask questions following character and social emotional skills, lessons, do the homework, and participate. Number 3, get to know your school counselor and know where the office is located. Number 4, ask for help at any time for any concerns. And that's why it's very important that the counselor and the parents and the students and staff, we all work together so students can be successful in school. That is very vital. So you have to build a relationship with students, and I always tell staff that school counselors are not disciplinarians, because we can't do both. We can't discipline students and then try to build a relationship with students at the same time. So we are that one person that they can come to and talk to about anything. At least it should be that way.
Right.
But can I ask you a question on that note? In a case like this, is there a certain amount of time that schools give students when something like this happened, or after a certain amount of time, is it up to the parents to get extra resources on their own?
Well, we know the grieving process, there is a process, and everybody grieves differently, but counseling is vital. The school counselor, the students, they need to check in with the school counselors. They need outside counseling. Sometimes there are outside resources that will come into the school and provide counseling services as well. But family counseling and individual counseling is vital. Like for myself, I know sometimes people don't want to go to counseling. And that's why I created a self care program for situations like this when parents are just burnt out, overwhelmed. They may have a crisis and things like that, where they have 2 check ins with me and so many other values that come with the program. So that's why it's great to have support groups. And, there are support groups as well. You can check into that. But I would definitely suggest a self-care program, support group, counseling for the family.
Wow. Now I'm going to let you ask if you have a question, Brittany, but I see somebody wrote that it looked like a student. They said should be. They said when I was in high school, I was sent back to class and never went to the counselor again. So that sounds like that really affected them because they wanted to go talk to somebody, but the counselor in that particular school sent them back to class. So I'm sorry to hear that. And then you have somebody up here right now that says they're proud of you, Brittany. Said, love you, keep strong. We got this, big bro. So that's brother. How do you respond to that when somebody said that they went to the counselor, Deb, and then that particular school, wherever that was, when they were in high school, they sent them back to class? How do you tell a parent to advise their student if they come home and say, Mom, Dad, I went to the counselor, but the counselor didn't help me today? What would you tell a parent to tell the school or the counselor the next day, or should the parent call the counselor?
Well, I just want to say to that student, I'm sorry that happened to you. Very sorry that happened to you. But unfortunately, in every field, you have good and bad counselors, teachers, nurses, doctors. In every profession, you have some good ones and you may have a few bad apples.
Right.
And so I don't know the whole story, but I'm sorry she didn't listen to you. But I would say don't let that stop you from getting the help that you need in the future, because there's help out there. And that's just like if you go to a doctor and you may not gel with that doctor. What do? You stop, don't go at all? Well, you will try to go to, or you will go to another doctor, and then you keep going to a doctor that you gel with. And that's the same thing with a counselor, So, but if you can't gel with the school counselor, they have social workers, the principal, and outside resources that you could probably build a positive, relationship with as well.
Wow. So have you found the school to be useful to you, Brittany? Had your school been supportive for you, Brittany?
Are you talking about my job or his
school? I know you worked in the counseling field, and then your son's school. Have they been supportive to the degree where you felt like it's at a level of, because I know you started this organization for different reasons, for helping with resources, but I guess I'm saying what she just described, I hope that you was able to get that, what you needed from the school yourself.
Well, because I have a counseling background, I didn't need them for it. But a lot of kids, especially his friends, they do need it. And I don't know what the school is doing. I know what they do is they have counselors there, and they are there if you need them. So if you go to them, they're there. But I think they needed a lot more support, because remember, these students saw my son pass away. He was in the gym. They actually saw their friend lose his life. Something that I've never even seen before. I've never saw anybody transition. And so you're talking about 12 and 13-year-olds that were just on a basketball court and saw their friend and was just in class with their friend have to see one of the most traumatic things that you could ever experience in life. And so do I think that they received the proper support? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because they're reaching out to me still for support. And so that's one of the reasons why I feel like things have to change in the schools. Like they absolutely have to.
They're reaching out to you for support. So do you have a question for either of these ladies to help you to support these students in their field? Is there any questions that come to your mind for either of them?
Not at the moment, because I know as far as therapy goes, their parents are going to have to do something outside for them. But I will have them look up. I know you mentioned, I think you mentioned a website or so, like a website or two. I can pass on information about grief resources for them, because these kids are so, I don't even know what the word is that I'm looking for, but I know they get a bad rep on TV and in social media. But these kids are absolutely phenomenal. Like, these are some phenomenal kids, to the extent to where they still come to my house. They still play with my kids, with my younger boys. They walk my little one home from school every day. They stay the night over here. And all of this is since Xavier passed away. I remember when we were trying to find an attorney, they were calling attorneys trying to help find an attorney.
Wow.
Like,
Wow.
they check in on me. I usually never check in on them, but they all text and call and say, we want to just check on you and see how you're doing. And so when I
Wow.
say they're phenomenal, I mean, their level of compassion is just out of this world. And so I don't want them to lose that. I don't want them to get hardened by what they saw, because, like, sometimes things will happen and you kind of just push it back in the back of your head. But then as you get older, those things will kind of show up in different behaviors and different types of things that you do as a result of that. So
That's that self-care that she was talking about. Self-care right there. But even though they seem to be trying to go on with everyday life, hopefully if they are bringing up questions or if they show any type of mood swings, maybe somebody should be talking to these kids. You agree?
Yeah, I hope their parents are able to notice and recognize. And I know I've spoken to several of their parents. Like, if I see them writing things online or saying things, I speak to their parents and let them know, hey, because I know I had about 3 different kids reach out and tell me that they wish it was them instead of Xavier. They wish they would have gone instead of him. And so
Wow.
that just broke my heart to hear that kids are
Yeah.
thinking like that, His best friend wrote a paper. They had to write a paper about their hero. And so his best friend wrote a paper about Xavier because he said that was his hero. So they're dealing with this the best way they know how as kids. They're trying.
Oh, that's from one of your sons, I think. RDG, he said, hate to
That's
see
one
my
of the
mama.
twins.
He said, hate to see my mama hurting like this. I'll be home soon to give you a hug. Love you.
That's the twin that's in the Navy.
Wow. Isn't that a blessing? Oh, wow. So are there resources, Deborah, like are there 800 numbers or anything? Like, suppose these children don't have a person that is able to answer questions. Is there like a number or anything we can give Brittany? Like, are there 800 numbers or something these kids could call? Possibly if they don't get the help in the school or anything. Is there any, like, how they have suicide numbers? Do they have numbers?
They do. They do. And I just want to kind of piggyback on what was said. Now, when a crisis happened in a school, there should be a crisis team, and which consists of the counselors and social workers. And normally they're there maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and they come into the school and they are there and available and just open for kids to come talk to them all day. And so parents also, you have to advocate for your children, and you have to be observe them. Like, if you see any changes in their behaviors, like you guys said, if you see depression, or if you see them getting angry, because they could also be having post-traumatic stress and may not, just from seeing that, and may not understand what could be going on with them. And that's why I say it's very vital. But yes, you have behavior health response, which is Barnes Jewish in St. Louis, Missouri. And you even have the hotline that will give you resources as well. And here is one on my pad right here. This is Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which will also give you resources as well.
Put that in the private chat and I will copy it and put it in here. Put it in the chat and I'll copy it. One of the persons said here, and Lauren, I'm gonna let you chime in from a grief perspective. Somebody just put, children are afraid because parents don't want their business out. And another person also, that was from Eve and Faith Jones, and another person even Faith Jones said, these parents are going through their own struggles. The
Yeah.
whole family needs therapy. And that could be true too. What do you have to say about that, Lorna? And a lot of time.
Yes, you got to think about this too, that there's death and non-death grief. Death doesn't just come, I mean, grief doesn't just come about just because that somebody passes away, a human body, or a pet passes away. There's all kinds of grief that children experience in school. There's bullying, there's they may not be able to the parents may not be able to afford some of the clothing that the other kids are wearing, and they feel kind of bad because they can't meet up to some of those standards that other kids are. And so we've got to not only look at when someone passes away, but also look at the other factors. And then if things are going on in the household and, any traumas, and like Deborah said, you see all of these different things that are going on, and those things have to be also addressed. I feel that if there are support groups in schools that can be attended by the children in the school systems, then that is like a lifeline that maybe they can go and sit in. And even if they don't say anything, they are being they're listening to other people talking about different things that are impacting on them, and it's helping them, because I know I've conducted multiple support groups, and a lot of mine have been in the military, and we cover all of the services. And if you know anything about Marines, they're the real stoic ones that nothing bothers them.
Wow.
But I've seen we've had active duty Marines that come in, and they won't say a word, but their spouses will say, so and so said, was it talked about what was going on in a group at when they got home. But if the parents, if you got to work with the parents, because you got to treat them as a unit. You can't separate them out. But the kids, a lot of times, when they see something like Xavier's death, they're fearful. They're fearful too. And like when we have all of these school shootings, and Deborah, you can attest to this. Have you noticed the kids? A lot of them have a very flat affect, and that flat affect is that they feel that could have been them. They could be the one that, or they might be the next one, and that fear that sets down inside of them in the PTSD that comes up as a result of that. And how you'll notice how some kids will stop eating, some kids will become bulimic or anorexic, start cutting themselves. You start noticing all of these different things that are going on, and you've got to be acute to that.
Yes.
Like when you're in a classroom and you see the different things that are going on there, and I'm sure Deborah has a mechanism where her instructors will come and say, I've noticed something about one of my students, so that there can be an intervention and get the family in. Sometimes the family can't come in, or they don't have a desire, but we don't know what that relationship with in that family is either. It could be a toxic one, or it could be a very loving one. We don't know. And so
I get you. Let me ask you this, Brittany. I know that you have a resolution that you would like to see happen. Talk to us about what it is you would like to see happen, because this happened. You are thinking that there's something you'd like to see happen in the school systems. Tell us what that is that you'd like to see take place in the school system.
Absolutely. I started I have a petition that's going right now on change.org, It's called Xavier's Law. And what I feel needs to happen um, is that I believe that all staff in schools, anybody that's around children, from the principal all the way to the custodians, I think every staff member should have basic medical emergency training, to where they know how to do CPR, they know how to use the AED machine, and they can do the Heimlich maneuver. Um, should the need arise, because what happens is that when a medical emergency does happen, because they don't happen that often, you kind of go into panic mode. So just like schools have drills for fire safety, and they have intruder drills, and they have drills for inclement weather, I believe they need to have drills for medical emergencies as well, so that if a medical emergency happens, everybody, you don't have children calling you. You don't have children calling you saying, what do we do? That way it's intact and everybody knows what to do.
That sounds amazing. What you
understand this too, that children's airways are a lot smaller and they can occlude a lot faster. And so that emergency intervention is necessary almost immediately.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know.
I agree. And that's why I feel like that's why I believe that if you work around children, if you're responsible for children, you should know what to do. So that once a year training at the beginning of the year that they give you, and you online clicking through it, that's not enough, because we're trusting you with our most valuable possession, and that's our children. And so to say I didn't know, or to say anything along those lines is just unacceptable. And in the news, I don't know if you guys noticed, but it's like every time I turn around now, I'm starting to see where they're saying another child passed away. I know just this week, a few days ago, another child passed away at a school out here in Houston due to a medical emergency. And it's just like, how many kids have to pass away before we stand up and say, look, because my thing is that I still have little children, right? So my 8-year-old has asthma as well, but my 3-year-old does not. And you don't have to just have asthma for a medical emergency to occur. You can fall on the playground and hit your head. Do you know how to tell if a child has a concussion or not? Like, do you know maybe like what the questions are to ask, or whatever the procedures are to figure that out? Like, do you know if a child chokes on the chicken nugget at school, can you properly do the Heimlich maneuver to try to get it out? Or if they turn blue and choke on their own teeth, can you do CPR effectively to save their life? Or do you have to go run and find somebody and pray that they make it in time to save this life? And like she was saying, like the kids, when a medical emergency happens, you're in a crunch for time. Time is your enemy. Like, you are in a crunch for time. And the longer time passes, the shorter that window gets that they will make it through. So you got to move fast. And so we don't have the luxury to say, how do I work this AED machine again? Dang, what am I supposed to do? Where is the AED machine? How do you do CPR? Is it, how many pumps and breaths is it? And the average person does not know. And this is not just, like I said, not just if your child has any type of illness or respiratory concern. It could be any child, period. Any child, period. Because like I said, you just don't know. You don't know. And that's why part of that's the Xavier's Law. So I have that petition going on change.org, and I've been asking people to sign it and share it so that it can get more awareness as well. Because my son, I firmly believe that had my son received proper medical intervention as soon as this happened, he would be here. My son would absolutely be here. And I don't want any other mother to feel this pain, because it would be a sad world if every mother lost a child. It's something that I don't want anybody to even think about it. It's that bad. So if taking a class for a day or a few hours so that you can learn how to save a life, you save just one, is worth it, because that one could have been Xavier.
Wow. So Deb, anything you want to add to that from a school perspective? Do you think that's a good idea, what she's suggesting?
I think it's a great idea, but I just want to, being a school counselor for 18 years, I've seen a lot. Um, it is very important for parents when you enroll your child in school, make sure that you are communicating with the nurse, with the secretary, and maybe the principal, the counselor, but the nurse and the secretary, you need to make sure they know your child's medical history. If the child is, make sure they are having their asthma or whatever medication that they're taking, you may need to have it at the school where it can be administered by a professional nurse.
And if I could cut in, Ms. Deborah, that's why the law is so important because, like you said, my son had all of those things in place. He had 2 inhalers in his locker. He had every single one of those precautions in place, and they still dropped the ball. So that's why I feel like this law is so important because they don't take it seriously. They don't take it seriously until something happens, and then it is everybody's pointing fingers when in all actuality none of it matters because the child is gone now, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Inhalers and
so
things
sorry
should
about
not
that.
be in the lockers. They should be in where the child is. If you have an emergency rescue inhaler, it should be with the child, and especially if they do have any respiratory issues, it should not be in a locker. And I know that I've done some school nursing where you have the parents have to get medication things authorized by the physician because they are an order, but those things need to be the school nurse and whoever the parents need to make sure that the staff at the school knows my child needs to keep their inhaler, their rescue inhaler with them at all times.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think that's where the communication breaks down because nobody expects the unexpected, like nobody expects the unexpected. And so in my son's case, like I said, my son was an all-star athlete. He played every single sport. He played football, basketball, he ran track. When he was little, when he was younger, he played baseball. He did everything. He played every single sport. So when something like this happens, and I guess that's why I'm so passionate about it, because we had every single precaution in place. And Xavier did have a form from his doctor, a release that allowed him to carry his inhalers on him at all times. And he had an asthma action plan at the school. And so when an emergency happens, like what happened to my son, it's just that's not enough. If a child passes out in front of you, that's not enough. You got to know what to do because we have to send our kids to school, right? Or we can homeschool them, and everybody can't do that. So if you are an educator and you take on that role that you're going to be here for these children and you're going to protect them and you're going to care for them. And, I brought my son to school healthy. I expected to pick him up in the same way I brought him there. I expected to pick him up, treat my child like you would treat yours.
That's right.
And so, but like I said, it's just they were unprepared, and a lot of schools are, and that's why you see the number of deaths rising in schools because they're just not prepared for a medical emergency like they should be.
And also, there is something that is called a 504 for accommodations for students that have medical diagnosis. So they may not have a general IEP and individual education plan, but they have a 504 in place. Some students they may be a diabetic, and other ADHD, other health problems, asthma. But 504s outlines exactly what to do for that child in the school. So this is why I say that parents have to really, really advocate. You have to advocate for your child. And I'm not talking to the parents that do what they're supposed to do, but parents, you have to make sure you stay on top of prescriptions.
Right.
Make sure you stay on top of doctor's appointments. That you have to advocate for your child, and you have to make sure that you are communicating with the staff at the school as well.
All the time.
And I'm sure that, in Brittany, in your case, that you did all those things. So now, what is it that you are looking to accomplish with the organization? Talk to us about the organization, a 501c3 that you created, and your goals there, and how anyone that's watching can assist.
Absolutely. So Breathe for Xavier is the organization that I created that I plan to actually go out and educate the public on respiratory health, asthma awareness, and then offer free CPR classes and training, because if it's just not acceptable what happened to my son. And so the more people that I can get, that I can make aware, and the more people that I can help assist with learning to do CPR and learning how to do the proper things necessary to keep a person alive in the event that a medical situation happens. That's what Breathe for Xavier is about, because it just kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier. Even if, like, yes, like the students, they have like 504s and IPs and things like that. And the student has this, that, to the third. But if you are a coach and you teach middle school, and the middle school that you're at has about 1,500 students, it's no way that you're going to remember every single detail on those plans. But if you're constantly going over drills for medical emergencies, if you're constantly revisiting it throughout the year, then you at least know how to keep anybody alive, regardless of what their situation is. There are a few situations that CPR can just keep anybody alive until the medical personnel arrives. So just like that standard, that basic part right there. And so Breathe for Xavier will go out and educate as many people as we can, and teach as many people as we can, at no cost to them. That's the plan. Because I know sometimes parents and just individuals as a whole don't want to do things because of the cost associated with it. So I can knock out that cost, and I can say, hey, we'll come and do it for free. Then I know I've made a difference, and I possibly helped save a life.
Wow, that's amazing.
Wow.
And again, so have you made sure that you are getting counseling and stuff for yourself? Lorna, do you hear anything in here that concerns you in making sure that she is doing what she needs to do for herself in this process? Because she's doing a lot for a lot of other people.
Well, my thing would be, she's helping people, but that's helping her right there.
Okay, good.
That is because that's that nourishment that she needs. But now, are there times, like a lot of times I heard you say that you're 3 months out from this, and there's no real time frame that you put on this experience that you're going through. That's your baby. And I don't care whether he's the oldest or the youngest, he's still your baby. Mm-hmm. And so and some people will come up and say, well, shouldn't you be over this by now? And my whole thing to you is, no, and let people know that, I know that you want me to be okay, but that's not helping me right now. Mm-hmm. And the tears that you shed, I've done research on tears and crying. And the crying that you do during grief releases endorphins. And those endorphins help you to feel better. And so if you have to cry, go ahead and do it. And you have boys. And a lot of times in our society, what do they tell the boys? Oh, don't cry. Mm-hmm. That's not manly. But it is. It is. And if people understood and knew that tears release those endorphins and help you to feel better, they would encourage them to go ahead and do so. They don't have to cry out in public. They can do it behind closed doors or whatever, and let them know, but it's okay to do that so that they are feeling better too. And
Yeah.
if you have the little one, one of the things that I do with little children, because a lot of times you're going to see that if they have been potty trained, a lot of times they'll go back to wetting the bed,
Mm.
be very clingy, or they'll be very combative. And one of the things that I would teach parents to do is find an old pillowcase with a pillow, get some magic markers, and then let them know that when you kick me or when you hit me, that hurts. So let's find a way that they can do that. And so when they're letting their aggressions out, because a lot of times they don't understand what they're feeling, but they know that something is not right. Let them let their aggressions out on an old pillow. Let them beat up that pillow and let them know, hey, that's okay. Let them draw. Let them do those different things to get those feelings that they have inside outside of themselves. Okay.
And do you have conversations with your sons, Brittany? Do you sit around and talk?
Absolutely. We talk all the time. They've seen me cry so much. They see me cry so much to where now, as soon as I start crying, they just say, "It's okay, mommy. It's okay." The little one, my 3-year-old, talks about Xavier every single day. Last night we were in the bed and he was throwing a pillowcase up to the sky and he was saying, "Catch it, Xavier, catch it, Xavier." And he every day he says something. And my 8-year-old, I'm so proud of him. He's living his little life and he's continuing on and he's being so brave and
Has he been to counseling? Is that the one? Which one is the one that said that's typing on the one that says breathe for Xavier? That said I have not been to counseling.
He didn't know that therapy is counseling. That's why I just told him don't type that. Yes, he does. He goes to play therapy, so he knows it as therapy.
Okay.
Yes, he has a play therapist that he sees. And then he's also in some groups at his school. They're doing like some small group.
So kudos to you.
That he's getting at school.
Kudos to you.
There's a place out here called Bo's Place, and they are free. And they're strictly grief counselors, and they're free, and it's for kids. And so they offer free sessions for children, and they have another group that's starting March 17th, I believe. I talked to her today, but March 17th. So I'm going to let him do that one too. Because I just know I don't know what he's going through. I've never lost him. And so, I want to try to make life as easy as I can for them from here on out. Like I couldn't stop their brother from passing and I can't fix that, but everything in my power that I can do to where they're not as affected by it, to where if I can ease some of that hurt for them a little bit, I'm going to do that.
So Deb, from the counseling perspective, I think she's doing good, don't you?
I think she's doing very well. But I just want to add to make sure that you are taking care of yourself so you can be available for your children. So and it is not selfish for you to take care of yourself. And so don't feel guilty, but it's important that you do that. And also, I want to add to all the parents and our people, we have to change the narrative of counseling, that counseling is bad.
Right.
Counseling is not bad. Even counselors need counseling.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay to talk to someone that you trust, and everything can't be kept in the household. Because if everything is kept in the household, then there could be some things that's going on in the household that may not be good for your children. So have an open dialogue with your kids, And another thing I want to add is that, it's important for parents to be advocate for their kids. Sometimes it may be hard for them to go back to the school setting so quickly, because being in that environment could possibly, bring back some memories, post-traumatic stress or something like that. So everybody grieves differently, but you definitely have to pay attention to that. And so the school, I would hope that the school would really give the kids grace.
Oh, that's good. I like that. So parents should be able to say, send the assignments and can my child do it at home? Can they do it?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be great if they did something like that for
Mm-hmm.
them. And it doesn't hurt to ask, at least. Any questions that you think that she should ask her children, Deb or Lorna, or any signs she should look for uh, that you may want to tell her in any event as she's working with her children and these other children in the community?
I think maybe once a week they can designate a time and a day where they come together and just talk and speak whatever is on their minds.
Mhm, mhm.
And so I think that would really be great. It will allow everyone to express themselves and their emotions and kind of get a feel of what the other people in the family are feeling and going through.
Right.
Okay. How about you, Lorna? Anything that you would say?
I piggyback on what Deborah said, but make it such that they don't have to say anything unless they feel comfortable in saying it or they want to, because it should not be one of those that you're dragging stuff out of them. It should be a very free and comfortable get together, because sometimes when you're getting together like that, there might be resentment because you're feeling like I have to do this, or why can't we do something else? And
Yeah.
Well,
um, allow them to be able to share if they want to. Okay.
Right. And it's basically like a check-in.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I,
Mhm.
well,
And
I
I like how you say that, a check-in. Yeah, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Because then they don't feel like it's something, oh, wow, we got to do this again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, I appreciate you, ladies. So right now, I would love for you to tell us, is there anything that you need from anyone out here? If you had to make it appear right now, Britney, to the public for what you're trying to accomplish, I want to give you this moment to do that. I want to give you this moment to speak to the audience, to speak to the people that come back and do the replay, and let them know how we can help you to accomplish your mission right now.
I would ask him to share his story. Awareness is the biggest thing that I need right now is awareness about my son's story. So please continue to share his story. Sign the petition on change.org. It's completely free. Share the petition if you can, and check out the website breatheforxavier.com. But the biggest thing right now is exposure and awareness. Is what I'm asking for.
And with the awareness, what would you like? Do you have an event that you plan to do? If there's something like maybe could you use some sponsors or donations or?
Absolutely. I do have a form on my page on the website for donations, because we are doing we are starting up the foundation initially to get our funds to begin to purchase the different things that we're going to need to educate the public for this cause. And so, yes, absolutely, we always need support in that area so that we can have different events, and I can start the classes, and I can start the groups and make others more aware. I can do the advertising and do the promotion so that I can start to get the ball moving. I have an event coming later on in the summer where I'm going to partner with another foundation for a golf tournament, and hopefully I'm able to get some sponsors for that event, to sponsor a team or something of the sort, so that we can start to get the ball rolling and moving, and I can get a little more mobile as time passes. And I also, these ladies mentioned taking care of myself and making sure that I'm healthy. That's one of the things that I'm working on. I'm not there yet. I'm working on it though. And I'm trying. And like some things have declined in my health since my son passed. And it's a lot. And so I'm trying. So thank you for saying that, because it is important, and a lot of people don't know that grief can manifest physically. Like it can really physically alter your body. And so I appreciate them for bringing that out. But yes, thank you so much, Crystal. Thank you so much for asking what we needed, because yes, we did.
Yes, definitely. So I
Well,
want to do this. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to do more of that. I want to give these ladies a chance if they want to give any closing comments. I want to keep them too long because I asked them to pop in, and I just appreciate them popping in. And I just want to give them a chance to say any closing remark that they may have, so I can let them go and finish their evening off because we've taken up enough of their time. I appreciate you, guys. I truly do, and I know Brittany does too, for you coming through. I know that y'all have genuine hearts, so that's why I asked you to come, and I knew that you would be able to bring value to the conversation. So I appreciate you. So any closing comments? I'll start with you, Deborah, if you have any closing comments that you'd like to add in value.
Yes. First of all, is it okay if I take a picture
Of
of the four of us?
Oh, you can
I'll
do
send it to you. I'll send it to you. I got that covered. I got that
Okay, I was
covered.
about to say you can take a
Oh, you
picture
mean on
and
your phone? Now, I'll do better than that when I send it to you, because the way you're going to do it is not going to. I'll send it to you so you'll have the
That's
actual
fine.
picture. Because if you could do it with your phone, but it's not going to look like it's going to look when I send it. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
But if you want it that way, feel free. But
No, that's fine. But also, I'd like to add: is it okay to post? I just don't just post. I always ask
absolutely.
if it's okay.
I'm public on all platforms under Breathe for Xavier, and Crystal can probably tell you on my TikTok and my Instagram accounts. I'm really really raw with my grief, so I would just kind of put that advisory out there before you go on my pages, because you're gonna see me breaking down, and I think that's why it's garnered so much attention on TikTok. I have like over a million people that have come and watched and support. It's like it's blown up huge, and it's because it's real grief, and so I just put that advisory out there. But no, everything is public. I don't, anything that I put out, anytime I appear, anything I post is public, because I want the world to know what happened to my son. So that's why I'm moving the way I'm moving, and I'm vocal, and I'm so vulnerable, and I'm sharing like those moments that normally you don't see, because I want people to see the devastation that grief leaves behind. He wasn't just Xavier, a little boy in your science class. He was a son, and this family is crumbled now. Life is not. We have a new normal now, and so I want them to see what his death has done to me, and hopefully that triggers emotions and helps to bring about change as well.
and you've gotten other people to come forward that actually had similar stories and stuff, like on the TikTok. I know a couple of times.
Oh
So
yeah.
you don't have to apologize for. It's been therapeutic for you. We all know, because all of us, I don't know how much Lorna uses it, but I know Deb and I do use like Instagram, but we know how connections happen when we're going live and we're talking to people, and we actually meet good people, and you meet other people that have resources, other people that have similar stories, and you make connections. The internet has done that for us. The internet has brought people together. So no apology necessary. And that's how I met you, because I saw you, and that's what drew me to you. And I know you were real. I know you weren't just out there because you were trying to make content. You understand what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's a
Right.
difference. So I know that. So but thank you for asking, Deborah. That was good. But I'll let you go ahead and continue with what you were saying as far as the closing remark. But thank you for asking before.
Okay. And so I want to offer your viewers a 15-minute free consultation. You can sign up on my website if you want to talk about anything. My website is tiocs.com. And also, I have a complimentary self-care calendar. So if you go to Instagram and go to Deb, the counselor, click the link tree and click on VIP email. You put your information in and you can download the self-care calendar right then. And it has 35 things that you can do to incorporate self-care into your daily life. And I just want to say to you, Brittany, I wish you the best of luck and healing. And if you need anything from me, just reach out. And it was nice meeting you, Dr. Lorner and Crystal. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, and you could tell her how she could follow you on Instagram, because she's on Instagram too. Is it, tell her your Instagram, your IG?
Day of the Counselor. I put it in the chat also.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you. We definitely do. And how about you, Lorna? Any closing comments that
Yeah.
you'd like to add as well?
I know that you are reaching out in your area, but what I see for what you're doing can become pervasive throughout our whole country, because everybody has schools, everybody has children, and for the most part, they're going through a lot of the same things. And this would be something that could be pervasive throughout the country, so that parents don't have to send their kids to school and be anxious about, is there somebody there that can take care of them? And then the other thing too is, oh, and I lost my train of thought. Oh, I know, I'm sorry. I don't know whether you've gotten in touch with the Red Cross, and all of the other organizations that would be more than happy, because I've been a NRP instructor, ACLS, BCLS, all of that. I've taught all of those and become and am also an instructor trainer, so that you're not only having you're a small group doing it, but you're having people that are learning and teaching other people and letting this be pervasive throughout.
Yes.
And I love how you're having fundraisers and things like that to increase that awareness, because anything that you can do that gets you noticed in front of the public, talk to the radio and TV stations, all of those things, the social media, which you're excellent with, all of those things are going to get you well known into the public, and other people are going to want to get Xavier's Law in their school districts and things like that as well. Mm-hmm.
Yes, definitely. So, ladies, I appreciate you once again. That's the Xavier with his brothers on the screen, and we certainly do thank you for your time coming in today. Brittany, I would certainly love if we can do a follow-up and find out how it works. If you need something else with an event, and some of us can come. If you do an event where you want counselors, maybe we can come. If you ever have one and you need people in person, keep all our information, and maybe we can come through there and do that for you, because
Thank you so much.
we would like to be able to have hands-on. I know that you postponed an event, right? And what is that event that you postponed that you're going to do again?
Yes, we were gonna do I was gonna do a candlelight vigil for his 3 months in heaven celebration. We were gonna do a candlelight vigil, but I was gonna give his friends the opportunity to kind of run this one and take over, because they hadn't had a chance to do that yet. The funeral, is really family, and the balloon release, we kind of controlled everything. So the kids hadn't gotten a chance to speak out and voice and say anything about the situation. So I wanted to give them the opportunity to speak out and make memory cards and make a memory box and that type of thing, to just kind of express themselves. But the weather, we had to postpone it. So we're going to do it for his birthday, which is in July. We're going to do a big block party, and it's going to be huge. So yes.
And you have merchandise. Tell us about the merchandise. And ladies, I'll let y'all come off the screen. So if y'all need to leave, thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. I do appreciate your time. Bless you. Thank you so much for being here today. Okay. And if you want to stick around, you can stick around. But I didn't know how much time you had available, so I wanted to give you that opportunity. Okay. So Brittany, let me ask you something. So you tell us about the merchandise you're selling.
I have merchandise. I have some Breathe for Xavier t-shirts, Breathe for Xavier hoodie, And I have a shirt that says trust in God, trust in God, just trust in God all over this shirt, and his signature at the bottom, since that was one of the last things I was able to hear him say. And so that's on the website as well. And that's just another way to raise funds for the foundation.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So with that being the case, once again, ladies and gentlemen, we have the website that we put up there. We're going to put it back up there for you. And Brittany is looking. Are you needing volunteers? Are you wanting any type of people when they go to the website? You want to tell them what they can do about that login and how that's going to work when they go to the
Absolutely.
website?
If you go to the website, and if you become a member, you will have exclusive access to upcoming events. I'm going to put coupons in there for different types of merchandise. I'm going to have giveaways, and you'll be on our email for what's upcoming. You'll get a kind of like a behind the scenes look, a first up, first dibs type of thing. By becoming a member, and it's absolutely free to just sign up.
Okay. And I have something across the screen that I saw on your website. It says every year over 6 million people globally experience sudden cardiac arrest, with children and teenagers accounting for about 6,328 of these cases in the U.S. Parent Heart Watch. Furthermore, what happens is the American Heart Society Association reveals that over 350,000 out of the hospital cardiac arrests occur yearly in the U.S. alone, and about 90% of these individuals die from not getting CPR. So asthma is a big deal, and a lot of children have asthma.
Yes.
So educate yourself, find out things. Brittany, will you be doing workshops and awareness events for asthma?
Absolutely. That is all coming up. That's all part of Brief for Xavier. Like I said, our whole mission is education and awareness now, so that we can prevent um, any other children experiencing it, anybody in general really experiencing it. CPR can save anybody's life, not just the child's. But absolutely, we will.
Okay. If anybody's watching this and they go back and they want to help you, how would you like for them to reach out to you? Do you want them to go to the website and just put a contact information in there? Is
Yeah,
that
go to the website. My email address is linked on the website. If they want to reach out to me, it's briefforxavier at Gmail. Everything is brief for Xavier. Or if you want to find me on the social media platform, type in brief for Xavier, and that's what it's listed under all social media platforms as well. But
all
yes,
right,
you
ladies
can
and you'll
email.
see that sign. So breathe for Xavier. Brittany, I want to say God bless you. And you were in my prayers. We did not meet by mistake. And like I said, I'll be in touch. We'll make some more stuff happen for you. We most definitely will. We want to be able to help you with this mission any way we can. I have a 501c3 also, and we'll put our heads together and see what we could do. And if there's any other updates you need to do, and my platform can be used to help you get the word out, we'll share this out. We'll spread the word, and we'll do what we have to do. But you keep doing what you're doing. You keep doing what you're doing. You are doing an amazing job at getting the word out, and I'm proud of you. So proud of you for what you're
Thank
doing.
you.
And any closing comments that you would like to make to the people, I'll give you the last opportunity to make your plea to be able to do that. So that if anybody is just coming in and they are just coming in, this is Brittany Thomas, the mother of 13-year-old Xavier Thomas, who passed away on November 15th when he made the basketball team. He was so excited at his first basketball practice, and he had an asthma attack. And she has been brave enough to create a 501c3. But I'm going to let her give you her closing remarks and her comments, and then you go follow her and support her. Okay. So I'm going to let you do that, and then I'm going to close us out. You have been watching Storytime with Shell Crystal. I am your Hope Catalyst. My tagline is Keep Hope Alive. My mission is to stir up the gift, instill hope, and save lives. And right now, I'll let you hear from Brittany Thompson.
Thank you guys so much for the overwhelming amount of support that you all have shown to me. I'm grateful. I'm blessed, despite the circumstances that I find myself in. I'm still blessed and I'm grateful. If you find it in your heart to where you feel like you would like to support us, the biggest thing that I'm asking for right now is is awareness and donations so that we can get the educational materials together. So that's our website, breatheforxavier.com. I am on all social media platforms as Breathe for Xavier. Please follow me. Please share the videos, share his story, and let's make a difference and save a life. Is on mute.
You've been watching Storytime, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next time on Storytime. Please, please, please share her story. Get the word out about asthma awareness so we can do justice to that and save more children so they don't have to go through this. Thank you so much, Britney. Much love to you. Prayers to your family. And I'll be in touch. Thank you, everybody who has been watching. Thank you for the support of the channel. Make sure you go and follow her. Breathe for Xavier everywhere. Storytime with Shout Crystal. And we are going to end for the night. Thank you for watching. Hold one moment, please.
A catalyst for change with the chance to thrive. Crystal is the one to stir up gifts and save lives. You get exposure, promotion, and marketing too. And advertise for business owners just like you. On Storytime, your interview is global. Virtual or in person, just come on the show. Yo, your story matters. Crystals will open the door. 40 years of experience, ready to give you more on Storytime. Get ready for Storytime. Hey, come on.